In today's Leeds news, Betis launched Joseph, bid Gruev's future at Leeds, glimpse of hope on Diara, and today's rumour mill with stories around Reinildo. Morning folks, welcome back to The View. Thursday morning, the 12th of June with your Leeds United news. A bit of stuff to get stuck into, less of the transfer side of things today, thank God, and a little bit more detail on potential exits and serious exits, with a big story coming out of Ellen Road this morning, but conflicting reports on that, and we'll give you both sides of the different parts of the media, and you can make up your own mind and we'll see where this one goes. Just a quick reminder, the Content Creator Cup is taking place on July 20th at the John Charles Stadium for Sport. £7 tickets for adults, £3 tickets for kids. Details down below in the description. Let's crack on, let's get into this, and let's start off with Mateo Joseph and a potential Real Betis bid. Mateo Joseph is one player who definitely splits opinion amongst the Leeds United fan base, and I can see the comments, and we see it every day when we talk about Joseph. There will be some people in the comments section who see potential in Joseph and would like him to stay at Leeds at least a little bit longer, and there are those who see that there isn't any potential and Leeds should move on from the player and sell him and get some money while they can. Joseph is currently on international duty with Spain and did score last night in their 3-1 win, and now there are fresh reports that Real Betis are making their move for the Leeds United attacker, with some claiming a bid has already been made. Graham Bailey says this morning that Leeds United have accepted a €10 million bid. It's about £8.5 million for Mateo Joseph, and says that personal agreements are in place with the player as well. However, according to the YEP, they say it would take a serious offer for Leeds to consider selling Mateo Joseph, and at this point they don't consider him to be for sale. The YEP says that they understand that Joseph is not for sale and that a large offer would be needed to change Leeds' mind. Reports in Spain say that Betis are keen to land him this summer and have made him their top priority, and on this move and Graham Bailey's side of things, he had the following to say on this. Leeds have agreed to let him leave. I'm told the overall deal could be around €10 million, that's £8.5 million, including add-ons. There were a few teams keen, but the player made it clear that he wanted Betis. It has moved on from this point. Leeds would have been more than happy for him to fight for his place, but Joseph wanted the move to Spain. Joseph's sale would likely generate a high PSR profit for Leeds United, having spent £900,000 on the player and maybe bringing in £8.5 million for him now. Betis did make a move for Mateo Joseph in January when they bid €10 million for him then, with the talk at the time saying that Leeds valued him higher than that, in and around 12. Diarra de Silva in Spain today also say that Betis are keen to strike a deal with Leeds United for Mateo Joseph, and they say a deal of €10 million plus a potential 20% sell-on clause would be what they would be willing to do. Spanish publication also states that Betis is Mateo Joseph's preferred location as well, which lines up with what Graham Bailey is saying as well. Back in January, some podcasts laughed off interest from Real Betis, and one even went as far to say that Leeds had manufactured the story in order to ease fan frustration at not signing any players in January. Diarra de Silva now claim also that bid in January was legitimate and that Betis have returned for a second crack at the player. In previous years, Leeds have been forced into cut price sales of players to Real Betis, with Marc Roca and Diego Llorente both moving there for cut price deals at the time. Leeds have no need to do a cut price deal right now, being back in the Premier League, but whether Mateo Joseph wants to move or not, there's conflicting reports on that, and whether Graham Bailey is accurate with this will remain to be seen. We'll keep an eye on the local media as well on this to see if there is more truth to this, but the latest that came out from the Yorkshire Evening Post in the last hour stated that they say that reports of any agreement are premature at this point. So again, Graham Bailey's track record's not great. If he's gotten this one right, he's got a definite exclusive. He is reporting this as an exclusive. The YEP are saying it's definitely not a done deal, and that their reports are premature, but that Betis are making their move for Mateo Joseph, and it will be seen whether Leeds decide at this point that Mateo Joseph should leave or stay, and that will ultimately be dictated by the price. But it's an interesting one to keep an eye on. It will definitely bubble up over the weekend as well. We'll see where this one goes. It's before the 30th of June PSR deadline as well, so there might be some extra wiggle room for Leeds should they decide to sell him in that. But yeah, again, it'll split opinion on people. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. We'll see where this one goes. And yeah, as we say, conflicting reports between Graham Bailey in Spain and the Yorkshire Evening Post and Leeds media as well. So we'll see where it goes. Let's move on. Let's talk about another player's future at Leeds United, and that's Gruev. And he is a player whose future is very much up in the air coming into this season. The Bulgarian defensive midfielder may see his game time reduced next season compared to last year significantly. The fact that Leeds have made a move for Habib Diarra and the fact that they're looking at a new centre-back means Ethan Ampadu is likely to move back into midfield, which means opportunities for Gruev to play in that defensive role may be limited next season. Gruev spoke to the media after Bulgaria's heavy defeat to Greece this week about his future and said the following: Premier League would be an absolute dream for me. I want to play in the best league in the world. I find the Bundesliga very attractive, but now I want to continue proving myself in England. The former Werder Bremen defensive midfielder did have interest from the Bundesliga last summer and is likely to have similar interest again this year, and whether he decides to stick around at Leeds or move on remains to be seen. Leeds could get some potential PSR wiggle room on this as well as they look to move players out. There is reports that Leeds will have a large number of players exiting the club this summer in order to make room for new players to come in a squad upgrade, as well as navigating life within that new PSR bracket that Leeds have to deal with, in that much smaller, tighter bracket than even the likes of Burnley have next season. But we'll wait to see on this one. Again, another player who divides opinion amongst the fan base, Gruev. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Gruev. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Habib Diarra situation and a potential glimmer of hope for Leeds in this one. Leeds' move for Habib Diarra has been described by journalists this week as ambitious, with some reports going even further to say that the Leeds are being too ambitious in this situation. I would much rather Leeds be too ambitious than not ambitious at all this summer. Contrary to certain reports this week, it doesn't appear that Habib Diarra was at Thorpe Arch this week. It may have been somebody else, but Strasbourg are currently not responding to Leeds United's approach. But there may be a glimmer of hope on this deal, as yesterday Strasbourg announced the signing of Pape Demba Diop, who would be seen as a potential replacement for Diarra should he move on. This will continue to be a tough deal for Leeds to get done. There are significant reports of other clubs in Europe interested in the player, as well as the player's representative and the player himself wanting to play in European competition next season as well, which obviously Leeds won't be in a position to offer him. They can offer him Premier League football, but Strasbourg do have that co-ownership with Chelsea and Blue Co Group, so it might be a trickier deal to get done from that perspective as well. We'll see where this one goes, but slight glimmer of hope there, but is still very much seen as a very tough deal for Leeds to get done. And whether it's ambitious or too ambitious, again, we'll see over the next couple of days and weeks. Let's move into the rumour mill territory now, and there's only a couple of stories to talk about today, and we'll start off with the Reinildo story that came out yesterday evening. Another left back to add to your growing list of names, and Atletico Madrid's left back Reinaldo Mandava has now been linked with a move to Leeds United, along with moves to other clubs as well. The fullback will be available on a free transfer this summer when his deal expires, but is expected to take part in the Club World Cup with Atletico before then moving on to a new club for next season. Reinaldo clocked up 102 appearances since joining Atletico back in 2022 from Lille. He did have an ACL injury in 2023, but did clock up 19 appearances last season for Atletico. At 31 years of age, he's definitely on the older side of what the 49ers tend to normally look for. They tend to normally go under 28 years of age, but he could be an experience that Leeds want to bring into that position. If Junior Firpo's moving out on a free, bringing another player in on a free transfer might give them some more wiggle room to add an additional left back there as well, which there has been talk that Leeds will look at more than one player in that position. The report today comes from Marca in Spain, who are mixed track record, but also Ben Jacobs has also said today that he believes Nottingham Forest, Sunderland and Leeds are all interested in Reinaldo, but this feels to me much more like a Nottingham Forest type of signing rather than a Leeds United type of signing. The other story to bring you up to date on is just a rounding of the houses on this one, and it's Vladislav Vanat, who was linked with Leeds United a couple of months ago as a potential signing. According to reports that have come out today, it now appears that Sunderland and Nottingham Forest, also who are mentioned as being interested in Reinaldo, have maybe taken a step further towards moving for Vanat ahead of Leeds United. Leeds don't appear to have followed up on their initial inquiries in Vanat just yet, and we'll see if this kicks any kind of action into gear and if Vanat does head towards England at all, but there are complications around that as well. But we'll have to keep an eye on that and wait and see. Exciting young player, Vanat. I do like him. I do think Leeds need a more experienced striker, but we'll have to wait and see. Folks, that'll be it for me today. Massive thank you as always for supporting the channel. We did have a live stream last night, myself and Ben Luck. You can check it out over here somewhere, over there probably. Having a look at the two players that are significantly linked with a move to Leeds United, Diara and Bial, as well as the two other rumoured players that are less likely to be accurate, but giving you some detail on the type of player Leeds may be looking at and the ambitious attempts the Leeds are making this summer as well. I will see you tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Enjoy the rest of your day. Talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.